We're right on the Murray River, the Dungarwa. Yeah. And Veronica, when she was small, she'd come down with her father and mother and swam here with my children, all her cousins.
This is Yorta Yorta country. For a young Veronica Nelson, it was a special place, a happy place.
Veronica as a kid growing up and me as a kid, we had the freedom here. We were normal kids, we'd be swimming, playing.
Now it's her resting place.
They can't do nothing more to it. But then you think again, why did it happen? Why? There's a big capital why.
On the 30th of December 2019, Veronica Nelson was arrested on shoplifting charges and outstanding warrants. She was remanded in custody overnight for a hearing on New Year's Eve, where she made an unrepresented application for bail.
Are you Veronica Nelson? All right. What's happening with your matters, Miss Nelson? Have you spoken to a lawyer?
Briefly, I was going to apply for bail.
Right, okay.
Changes to Victoria's bail laws in the wake of the Burke Street tragedy meant people like Veronica, who'd committed repeated low-level offences, would have to prove there were exceptional circumstances as to why she should be granted bail.
There's really not enough there for me to justify releasing you on bail.
The complete and unmitigated disaster of the 2018 changes to the Bail Act is most obviously inflicted on the accused who are incarcerated, often for short periods, and for unproven offending of a type that often ought not result in imprisonment, even if proven.
The coroner's court heard Veronica was unlikely to have served any prison time if convicted for the offences, but she was remanded in custody and taken to the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre. Veronica vomited on the way and shortly after arriving was assessed by a doctor and prescribed a drug called Suboxone to help her as she was withdrawing from heroin.
I feel sick in the stomach.
Yep, you just got to wait for that Maxilon to kick in, okay?
I feel sick, I'm spewing up.
Yeah, that's going to keep happening for a bit, miss, but I'll let them know. I'll tell the nurses.
A decision was made to keep Veronica in the medical unit overnight. By the early hours of New Year's Day 2020, she was feeling even worse.
I've spewed up everywhere.
Alright, no worries, that's okay. We'll have people in to clean it in the morning.
Finally, she's handed a drink through the cell's trap door, but her desperate calls continue.
After lockdown, can I please get a drink?
I'll see what I can do. This intercom's for emergencies only.
Can I please get a drink now? Hello?
After once again vomiting in her bed, Veronica asks to see a doctor.
When's the doctor going to see me?
It's not an emergency, stop asking.
Do I see the doctor yet?
No, I'll let you know. What?
You said in 10 minutes.
Well, things don't always go to plan.
Veronica was someone who conducted herself with dignity and with respect. However, the response that she received was anything but that.
Later that afternoon, despite it being noted she was extremely thin and unstable on her feet, Veronica was transferred out of the medical unit. But she was still feeling unwell.
I need help. I'm cramping.
Miss Nelson?
I'm cramping, something shocking.
Are you withdrawing?
Yeah, my legs and my feet and my hands, and they can't come out.
Alright, have you tried to have some fluid, some water?
Yes, yes.
Alright, I'll ring the nurse, okay?
I need help.
Okay, I'll ring the nurse.
Badly, miss, badly.
Okay, I'm going to ring the nurse.
Soon after, 3 prison officers and a nurse arrive at her cell. The nurse prizes Veronica's hand open to give her some medication through the trapdoor. Over the next 2 hours, she presses the intercom button 11 more times.
You need to stop. Miss Nelson, you need to try and stop because you're keeping the other prisoners awake. I can't give you anything else.
for the prison officers not to recognise that there's a human being in this cell who's crying out for help, even to the point of desperation where she's calling out to her late dad. Surely this can't be happening in a modern world.
At 3:58 a.m, Veronica makes her final desperate plea for help. The coroner would later hear that by this point, the decision to send Veronica to hospital should already have been made.
Ms Nelson?
Yeah.
The only option is to go and stay in medical, but she probably can't give you anything else.
No.
What do you want to do?
I want to stay here.
Well, then you need to try and stop screaming out, because once the other women start waking up, they'll get pretty annoyed.
Emergency services.
Yeah, hello, I need an ambulance to the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre Women's Prison in Ravenhall.
Just before 8 a.m, Veronica Nelson's body was found cold, stiff and naked, her hands clenched like claws. She weighed just 33 kilograms.
Well, they just sat there and let her go. All they had to do was their job, nothing else. That's all they had to do.
Percy Lovett was Veronica's partner for 2 decades.
The staff at the prison, including a prison officer and a nurse, have acknowledged that they failed Veronica. What do you think?
Yeah, my oath, they did.
The coroner today described Veronica Nelson's treatment as cruel and degrading. He also found that if all of the recommendations from the Royal Commission into Aboriginal deaths in custody more than 30 years ago had been fully implemented, her death could have been prevented.
But I recommend the Victorian Government urgently develop a review and implementation strategy for the state's implementation of the 339 recommendations of the Royal Commission.
The coroner has referred prison contractor Correct Care Australasia to the Director of Public Prosecutions, and Percy Lovett is taking legal action against the Victorian Government over Veronica's death.
I just want someone to be held accountable, because when we get in trouble, we're all held accountable, you know. We've got to pay the price.
The coroner closed his findings with Veronica Nelson's own words, reading a letter she'd written to her mum.
Side by side, or miles apart, I've always kept her close in my heart. I'm ready to stop failing and falling apart. It's time for me to go home where I belong.
In Cummeragunja, Veronica Nelson now lies beside her father, who she'd called out for as she died in her cell. May Walker says the inquest has done nothing to heal their family's wounds.
I got no faith in justice. I never want to go to prison because I'll probably never come out. And I tell the young girls, don't go to prison because you're never going to come out alive. You'll come out in a coffin.